right. This is August 5th, 12 o'clock p.m. I'm with Michelle Barnett with Karrma Construction. She's the COO. So how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic.
All right. So as we previously outlaid, the first question that I'm interested in as it relates to Karrma Construction. Well, before I start there, what's the correlation between Karrma Construction and Larimer Design Group?
Okay. So Karrma Construction Group is the construction company that my husband's the CEO of.
Okay.
He deals obviously with residential and commercial. They are licensed in 9 states.
I saw that. It's impressive.
Has a partner. They are in Washington, D.C. So we are in North Carolina. Larimer Design Group is my management company. It's the company that I manage. I have the more customer service, more boutique type of feel. I walk the customer from the permit from beginning to end. And so I assist my husband in more of the operations of the company. And now I'm getting into the project also development. And then on the side, I do my thing.
Excellent. All right. So the first question we have topic is leading teams on the ground and in the office. So how do you guys keep the different teams from field crews to salespeople motivated and aligned? And that's especially big, I guess, as you're in, many different locations.
Yeah. So I believe that motivation and alignment, they stem from clear communication, basically.
Okay.
So as long as everyone knows what their job is and how it affects everyone else, then it's a lot easier for everyone to be focused on their own thing. And as they see that one drops the ball, it affects the other one, keeping it clear communication of how the schedule is supposed to be, what type of customer we have, any issues that may arrive, any issue that we kind of already foresee. So we have project management meetings weekly. And it doesn't matter what you are doing. If you are in inspection, you're calling in and you're hearing. So you are well versed in all the projects, and then they're versed in your project as well.
So is your company structure, is you have a headquarters and everything flows through there, or is it siloed where, depending if you're in, say, Maryland and someone else is in New Jersey, is there a New Jersey office that manages New Jersey? Or does everything kind of flow through the corporate headquarters?
We basically have almost like 2 corporates. Okay. Washington, D.C. is one entity where they do more of like the northern part, and then we're down here. So we'll focus on South Carolina, Florida, and us, And so for the most part, it's just a communication, to be honest. Everyone needs to know. I love protocols. So as long as everyone's following the protocols, if there's an issue, it can derail a little bit, but then we're back on protocol. It gives that customer that sense of communication, being aligned with the main focus of getting the project done, right? So, and we hold accountability for everyone as well, So we support them as best as we can. We give them all the information. We discuss how we can fix things, how we can move it forward. And then we also give certain ways to motivate them financially, right? Mm-hmm. Everything goes well, you get a bonus. If you finish this at this time and the customer's happy, inspection passed, then we move on to the next. You know what I mean?
I gotcha.
Everyone is on the same page. It kind of creates that, let's be all organized.
Right. And that kind of leads us into my next question is, what works well for you holding people accountable without like micromanaging? Is it the bonus-based structure that, that an employee, understands if I do well, then I'll be rewarded for it? Or how do you guys manage that process?
Accountability. The accountability is really, first of all, we have to train them correctly, right? So can't just assume that they know what they got to do. So every project is slightly different. So we have different bonus structures for the project, and we also have different milestones. Mm-hmm. So when that is clear, we can discuss moving forward that way. So we give them, great feedback. Every week we're talking about where are we, any change orders. We're trying to get to anything that could be an issue. And if we have protocol, then there's no really micromanaging, right?
Right, I gotcha.
It's just a procedure of the company. When you hire someone, you tell them, hey, this is how we do it. Do you accept, and then you move forward.
Yep.
So if they know their clear expectations of us, it's not micromanaging. Plus, in this industry, a lot of people have outside jobs. So they're not only doing this, but then they have their own company, right?
Right.
And as long as you do our protocols, you keep our customers first, you let us know at the drop of the dime if there's an issue so we can assist you, then we're helping you. So there is no issue. So it's not really micromanaging, it's working together.
I got you.
You know what I mean?
Yep, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So the next topic is making projects run smoother. What are some simple changes that you've made on your project workflows to make you more efficient, or are your workflows been established and they run smoothly?
So some of the things that we've been implementing is having very clear communication from the beginning of the project. It's the beginning when it comes to getting estimates, speaking with the customers, getting all of the details, the most important things from the customer. I've noticed that if you take that time in the beginning, I like to call it the permit phase. If you take that time to communicate with the project manager, the customer, and the outcome, and you take, sometimes our permits here in North Carolina can take up to a month, a little bit more, depending on, how big the project is. That's the time where we really immerse ourselves with the customer, even understanding their communication style, right? Because that's important too. There's so many different types of personalities. And if we do that, and we make sure that the project manager, customer, and then we are the face as well, that they have clear communication with us. If they happen to not like the project manager, they don't feel comfortable with a certain sub, that clear communication prevents a lot of issues in the future. Doing that, I believe that's called like the foundation. You start there, then everything else is clear communication, and you can foresee the type of project, the type of budget, the type of, profit you can make by also, obviously the change orders is that area where the customer either can trust you that you're implementing a change order that's better for them, and you're not just doing it out of profit. Right?
That also sets expectations too, right? Having those expectations set early on in a project does really help and go a long way.
Yeah.
How do you guys handle your quality across all your different job sites?
So the quality, again, starts from the beginning, right? There's like 3 tiers that we kind of work with. You have a customer that's only renovating a house to sell. They want builder grade. They're just like, hey, just make it look nice, this and the other. Then you have those renovations that, older people have taken time to save, and it's more detailed. Right. So we have 3 tiers of quality and the bid and the estimate, and then we go from there. And then, wherever they want to spend money more, where they're going to be more, where they're not, we kind of match that with whatever the intention is of the customer, and we have it from proper expectations in the beginning. So it's just a lot of communication in the beginning. Then we set out schedules, and then we, keep it moving. We pause when there's a change order, discuss, have things in writing, and then move forward. We also discuss any additional time that can cause. Right. And again, just clear communication. I've never been in such an industry that clear communication will change everything.
Yeah.
It's the little things. It's the tiny things that you can ask that will change the experience of the customer from a really bad one to a really good one. Yeah. So communication.
The construction industry is definitely unique. There definitely needs to be a lot more communication. Yeah.
Well, women are good at that, aren't they?
Yeah. The next topic that was really good. Communication is such an important factor, especially when it comes if you're the customer, right? Because a lot of this is new, right? A lot of customers, they don't understand the construction industry. Not everyone knows what goes into getting a building out of the ground or renovating a structure. And there's so many steps. And without that communication and that earnest effort to try to educate your customer, that's when things go wrong.
It's kind of weird, right? Because the thin line, you don't want to overwhelm them with so much information that they get scared and they don't sign with you. Right. So once your proposal is signed, you take that time again, because I do the permits as well. Okay. So you take that time to kind of discuss what to expect in a light way, and then break it down. For me, I'm trying to create this method that just kind of like bullet points everything. And then weekly, you can have like a little meeting. You can be on Zoom, and then you can say, let's talk about bathrooms, let's talk about kitchens. Because once the construction starts, it's kind of like an organized confusion and chaos. Then the customer gets all like, now they're displaced, right? So now their house is messy. And then the kids and the dogs, and they got strangers in the house. They don't have that tunnel vision to discuss and speak on what they really want, to see. So then it just becomes a burden, and they don't have time, and you don't have time, and then things are done rushed, and then it's a different type of experience for them.
All right. So. Okay. The next topic is growing smart without burning out. How do you guys in your firm decide what part of the business to grow and invest in versus, because you guys do both commercial and residential. So how do you guys go about, and I'm sure it changes from year to year, right? How do you guys go about figuring out where that current investment needs to go?
So it varies. We're in North Carolina, and they are building here. I mean, even where we've moved, we've seen so many things come up around here in the matter of time that we've been living in this house. So how we focus really is the customer really dictates the market, to be honest. Because you can go with the market say there's no money, but then we're really busy, But what we've learned is first listening to the customer. And then there's also a balance of what the customers out there are asking for and what we're getting more inquiries on. And we also have certain things like roofing, right? That's really easy, tap and go. It's a roof, insurance, easy breezy. It could have overhead. That could cover your overhead, basically. But right now, what we're seeing more is that the houses are getting expensive here in North Carolina, and a lot of people are doing additions for their parents.
Right.
That's a big one. That's a big one. They're doing, in North Carolina, it's not like New York where you don't have that, space, right? Over here, you can still get land an acre plus, and you may have to move into the country, but you can go ahead and build a small, ADU back there for your parents and then your kids. And that's what we're seeing as far as for us, what's the most reoccurring project that we have right now. There were about 20. So that's probably the main one. And then you get your renovations, kind of like trailer house type of style. Right. And then they're expanding the ranch style. And then you have decks, right?
Yeah.
So it varies. It varies. And even with everything that's going on with the economy and the products, increasing, people are almost like rushing to fix their house because they can't afford a new house.
Right. No, yeah. Well, yeah, interest rates plays definitely the economy does have impact. With interest rates being the way they are, it's really hard for people to qualify and or afford that additional help they need to either buy a house or renovate. So are you guys are you in the scaling process? Are you trying to grow, or are you happy where you are in terms of business? Because
the scaling process, not to put our information out there like that, but we're doing very well. We did scale up a ton last year. And my main job is to focus on that customer service, right? Because when you scale up, something always lacks in that sense. So we're kind of like at a standstill right now because we want to, at least me, not really we, it's me. My husband wants to scale, make the money, but I'm like, wait, let's slow down, I'm in the process of how do we scale up and have a method where project managers can use, where the subs can respect, where the clients can feel like they're being heard, and we have almost a human AI system that it just crosses itself and checks and balance where we can scale. And when there's a hiccup, we can go back to procedures, figure out what's going on. And even if we take our eyes off for it for a second, right? Because that's the main thing. And right now it's hard to hire employees and find people who have that drive and that protection for the customer, protection for your company. And that's what I'm doing right now as we scale, right? Because you're not going to stop scaling.
No, you don't stop scaling, but there's that. You brought in part of the question that I was going to follow up with, but there's two major issues with scaling. One is to be able to scale and keep your current customer base and your current quality controls, delivering that quality project, all why you're scaling, right? So you don't start draining resources in an effort to scale, right? When you're not fundamentally set up to scale. And the next part, especially with the generation coming up today, they're not. It's not like when I came through, 100 years ago, and where the unions or you had craftsmen in the industry that trained the young people, right? And the generation coming, there's not that training anymore. So it's hard. You're correct. I see that across the country is finding the skilled labor and labor that's actually going to show up on time and actually work hard and want it to be a career. It's just not a paycheck for them. And that's becoming, unfortunately, and I hope it changes, more and more difficult as we move forward. So,
I mean, at this point, like I said, I was in different industries. I was in the automobile industry. I was in the hair and makeup industry. My mom had her own business, and then when I met my husband, he had this company they've had it ready for 6-7 years. So I was hearing all the issues without being of it. And so I was like, well, I would do that different, in my head, right?
Yeah.
It sounds so easy when someone's speaking on it. And now that I'm in it, I am taking AutoCAD classes, right, so that, for a very basic design that a customer needs to know, so maybe we can present that for the change order. Yeah. I'm taking interior design just to have that conversation. And so I could hire people and I know what to look for. Right. Because sometimes when you're scaling, you're leading with money and you're just like, look, I'll give you commission, I'll do this, I'll do that. And they'll see that, but they don't see the fact that they also have to care and almost have like ownership because they represent the company. Yeah. And we're not representing $20. We're representing anywhere from thousands of dollars to savings to being in someone's home. And it's like all of that. So, we're scaling up, but we're working harder because, we're hiring fast, we're firing fast and hiring slow.
Right, I gotcha.
So because of that means we have to work harder.
Yeah.
So I basically go, every time the sub is being introduced, oh my God, every time the sub is being introduced to a customer, either me or my husband have to be there, right? Because we want to create that safe space for the customer to be able to speak on a light switch that they want in a certain area where maybe the language barrier or they feel that's an extra thing. It's just so many things that we're doing different and we're like so hands-on now, but we're busier than ever.
Right.
So.
That's great. Building better client relationships. And I think you've kind of touched on this throughout the entire conversation. What's the key to keeping clients happy? And I think I'm going to know your answer to this one.
I'm a very detailed person. Yeah. So even if the client isn't, because everyone is different, I like to treat them the way I want to be treated. I am constantly learning. I am on YouTube. I am asking my husband. I'm asking every sub with every trade. What's that? How do you do this? And what's the code? And what's this? Just to immerse myself. Right? So just making sure that you are being that customer's advocate, whether you're on the other side of making the money, right? Yeah. Because at the end of the day, they have to live with that design. And everybody who comes into the house is going to say, wow, or who did this? You don't want to be the who did this one because I've seen it. Like, who did this and how much did you pay and why?
Yeah, when my wife and I renovated our house, we needed a designer. We're bad with color.
Well, I mean, it's those little things, right? It's those little details that create that customer. If I, even here in North Carolina, and let's talk about like the bad part of the industry where they have contractors who run away with your money, and contractors who take a customer, warp their brain into what their image and what they wanted, and then the customer came down, the construction company came down and lessened it, gave them all builder grade, told them to do something different because it was cheaper for them, and then when they came out of the clouds, they were like, this is not even what I wanted. So I hear customers from there.
There's definitely bad actors. There's a lot of bad actors in the industry. It's unfortunate. It really is.
So I'm trying to prevent that. That's it.
How do you guys handle issues? Obviously, there's problems that come up every day. What's your approach to once you've identified an issue, what's your approach to stop that issue to becoming a bigger problem, right?
Yeah. I like problem solving. I work with different industries that the customers were handful. And I love that, right? Because it gives me that opportunity to first be really sensitive with the customers. For example, if there's an issue and let's say the sub identifies the issue. First of all, never talk to the customer, right? Because we're the customer's advocate. Come to us. Let's talk. Let's find out what the problem is, how to solve the problem, how many tasks are going to take, what does that timeline look like? Get all the information within 24 hours, right? You don't want this to take forever. And then discuss, if there's going to be any price increase, price decrease, whatever the case may be, and then present that as transparency to the customer, right?
Yeah.
And then give that customer that option. If you go this way, it's going to cost you $5,000, but the longevity of your home is XYZ. If you go this way, it will pass inspection, but you're going to have to revisit this in 5 years.
Right.
And then have them sign off on it, right?
Right.
And then move forward. A lot of our things, because we are, accredited and we are a construction company that does things by the book, a lot of times if you tie it in with your inspections, sometimes the customer has to do that renovation, right? Now, the type of material, the type of things that happen, go that way. Now, if it's something on us, if it's a project manager or it's a sub that's not showing up, that isn't, then that's where you have protocol on your end to protect the customer, right? The customer's complaining about a sub 2 or 3 times. Well, I'm going to pull him. Do you want me to pull him off? Because I can pull him. And then it's going to take about a week, maybe 2 weeks to get you someone else. But if you don't feel comfortable with that person, let me go do this and bring you someone in, Like that's what you have to do. You have to advocate. You can't have someone that the customer doesn't feel comfortable with and then just assume, oh, it's going to cost me money if I change the contractor. Maybe.
Right.
So if it's personal or it's out, like you have to advocate for the customer, be transparent. And this is, again, a discussion that if it happens, you've already discussed that before the project started. So the customer feels comfortable that if something arises that we couldn't see because it's in between the walls, that's something that can possibly happen, especially with the age of the house. And if we get in a sub that they don't feel comfortable with for whatever reason, we have to advocate with them and take them out, and they're okay with that time.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay, letting the numbers lead. What's the most important metrics in your business that you follow? And could be specific to anything. It could be schedule, it could be margins, it could be 100 different things. Your husband and you, I'm sure, are tasked with looking at different things. Your husband might, he's always looking at a certain metric to see how things are going. Yeah. And obviously, have different responsibilities, your metrics are probably a little different. Yeah.
So he is a phenomenal salesperson. Like if you ever have a podcast for sales, he's really good. And I've been in sales in a lot of different industries, and he's awesome, right? Yeah. So his metric is finances, right? He's great with it. He's really good at selling, hitting numbers, doing amazing numbers. So I would say that his main focus is that, right? Because to keep what people don't understand is the amount of money that comes in, it's double the amount of money that goes out in construction. It's a crazy roller coaster. Metrics. I would say that what I'm trying to improve, my metrics, is time.
Right.
That's the one, because time is money, right? Mm-hmm. So to predict the time and have, dependable subs and a dependable schedule and making sure that customers hit the milestones and are able to pay when those milestones are there so you can keep the project running. He would be finances. I would be time metrics and
it's money. Right? Time is money. If your money's tied to a certain project schedule. If that project schedule goes over, your margins are going to be less. You might even lose money. If you beat that schedule, it betters your margins. So that's very, very understandable. So last question that I like to ask everyone is, what is working well for you now and what has been frustrating? So you have what's working well and what's not working well for you. I don't mean, it doesn't have to be, well, we're horrible at this. There's just functions of your company that you do very well. And just like any other company, there's functions that just aren't working as well?
I would say what's working well is the communication we have now. We're really, in the beginning, nobody really, we have a CRM system. I don't know if I could say what it is, but we use a construction-based CRM system.
Yeah.
And, again, a lot of people are antiquated and they're like, oh, I don't have to. Yes, you do. You need to do daily pictures, logs. So the communication that we're doing really well with that. So we're tackling certain issues that come up. We're doing good with time. I think that what we would have to improve is holding subs more accountable.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that I'm working on right now as far as like contracts, even before they start, where, we ding them for latenesses, no-shows, damages, delays, where we were kind of lax on that and that really affected the bottom line. So we're improving the sub accountability. We are improving time, and we're doing really well with communication with the customer, with our employees, with just the whole vibe of the project, right? Because every project is a different vibe. So, and then we're still learning. We'll have this conversation in a year, and it's probably going to be night and day from what I can say. You know what I mean?
Where do you see the trends in the industry going?
Well, right now, I'm in North Carolina, so North Carolina is expanding.
Yeah, you've been on fire. That place has been on fire. It's got to be going on 15 years now. It's incredible.
Yeah. My aunt moved here like 20 years ago from New York. I'm from Long Island. And so she moved about 20 years ago. She moved her business down here. She's in the food industry. And I've been visiting my town for over 20 years, visiting her. It's night and day. I remember coming down here. They only had a Target. It was a super Target. And it was like, we got to go to the super Target. And I'm like, wow, this thing is huge. Now you have Wegmans, you have everything, and everything is big and new and just so many apartments, right?
Yeah.
Like so much building. And now, not only is it just a triangle, now they're expanding. So people are okay with moving an hour away to get that land.
Right.
So we, as builders, where we were in the triangle, we would do something in the mountain, which is very difficult, but we would do it. Now we're going into like more the countryside.
Right.
Because people are just building their dream house there, so it's growing. There's room, right? But the quality and honesty, just because it's booming doesn't mean that it's honest. Right? So that is where you set yourself apart, because it's booming, but not everyone's doing it the right way. So I'd rather slow down, do it one way, be known for a good reason than just being fast and cheap.
All right. Well, I want to thank you. It's great hearing all your insights.
My husband gets tired of my talking, so thank you.
No, you did great. This helps. This, keeps me on my toes. So I really appreciate your time.
Okay, thank you.
And enjoy the rest of your day. I'll follow up with you with a thank you email and keep in touch. And I wish you the best.